It's time to stop buying chairs that won't fit you. I get it, buying chairs isn't always that great. It's easy to focus on the weight capacities of a chair to help narrow down what will fit. But the truth is, weight capacities arguably are one of the worst gauges to base sizing for an office chair. After all, most manufacturers like Herman Miller and Steelcase use this metric to prove that their chairs were stronger and, well, it got out of hand. Let's take a look at the three popular office chairs from Steelcase, Herman Miller, and Hayworth to get a better sense of what's really happening and how to actually get a chair that fits your body. The Steelcase Leap is our first example of how to pick the right size chair. With a weight capacity of 400 pounds, we get a lot of questions at BTOD about fitting all the way up to that exact weight. But when you look at the actual dimensions of the chair, it becomes very clear that this isn't possible. While many shoppers seem to ignore the most obvious way to decide if a chair will fit, using the dimensions against their actual body, we decided to go a step further, introducing size guide graphics to illustrate exactly what would fit in the chairs. We also have 3 different size users for this video: petite, average, and plus. And on the size guide, you'll notice that red is to avoid, yellow is okay for fit, and green is a good fit overall. Now, the Leap from a height consideration is potentially an okay fit from about 5 foot to say 5'2", but most will likely require footrest the closer to 5 foot the user is. From 5'3" up to 6'2", there shouldn't really be any issues with height, and again, you'll see just okay once we get to that 6'3", 6'4", as the back height may become an issue for some. Looking closer at weight consideration, from less than about 100 pounds up to 220 pounds, there shouldn't be any issues here. But you can see from about that 230 to 250 pound range, depending on how your body is, it can definitely be just okay, as that seat size and arm width could start to pose fit issues here. For users 260 above, the chair will start to become too narrow for most to fit comfortably, and we would definitely recommend avoiding the chair. The t-shirt size is a third layer to the fitment guide. This really helps with users who may be shorter and heavier, since they will likely require a larger t-shirt. Again, width is really playing a big part here in the fit, and we would likely recommend avoiding the Leap for anyone who's over an XL size shirt. The Herman Miller Embody does a better job with overall weight capacity, capping at 300 pounds versus the 400 pound capacity on the Leap V2. But even so, the same issues do exist, making it difficult to fit a user up to that weight capacity comfortably. Now, looking closer at the Embody, you'll notice based on the size guide, it actually doesn't work well for short users either, and that's because of the depth of the seat. While there is a way to make that seat a bit shorter or longer, our petite user has the edge of the seat pan right up against her legs. And at 5'2", this poses an issue for her and wouldn't be a good fit until you're maybe say 5'3". The same thing is going to be true for taller users, with that back being known to have a tendency to roll your shoulders over if you're 6 foot and up. Again, this is just a recommendation based on our own experience and the actual dimensions of the chair. For me particularly, I have to actually back the back angle off a little bit to sit comfortably without having that rolling over feeling, but of course, everyone can be a bit different. For weight consideration, because of the issues with smaller users, I felt the fit up to 100 pounds would be to avoid. From 110 to 120, this is likely to be just an okay fit. Similar to the Leap, from about 240 pounds up, you can definitely run into fit issues, especially with the side of the seat and the width of the arms as you continue to move up in that weight. The last chair up on our list is the Hayworth Fern with a max capacity of 325 pounds, and we have yet another chair here with a really high capacity that won't actually fit users up to that weight. Now, the Fern does have issues with shorter individuals as well, but unlike the Embody, it isn't because of the seat depth. Instead, it's because the lowest seat setting is about 16.5, which is about a ½ inch taller than the Embody at its lowest height. Even so, it's still okay for users in that 5'1 to 5'2 range. Now, good beyond 5'3 and up, the Fern is a nice option for taller users up to say 6'5", and okay for users all the way up to 6'7" without the use of that headrest. From a weight consideration, there's a small segment at that lowest weight range up to say 100 pounds that should probably avoid the Fern. Okay at 110, and then good from 120 up to 220 pounds. With a bit wider seat, almost 0.7 inches wider than the Leap, it does a better job overall fitting heavier users, but still, I wouldn't recommend this chair above that 260 pound weight capacity. Now, before you guys go decide to kill the messenger, just remember these are suggestions, but I do think it does illustrate one thing well. None of the chairs mentioned are recommended for users who are super petite or for those users who are north of 250 to 260 pounds, well short of that overall weight capacity for all 3 chairs. Now, just because a chair says it will support up to 400 pounds doesn't mean it will do so comfortably. Avoid bad fits and you'll start to sit better.